Welcome back to the Pandemic Series. Jude Black here with the Hostel Road Trip Podcast.
Bobby Dyer with International Travelers House.
And we are with Jason from Sin City, who was recently featured in the CNN article, Where Have the Backpackers Gone? And will be telling us a bit about being a hostel that's open during the pandemic. Jason.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here. And we're anxious to hear from you and about your story here of being open during said pandemic, as I said, and also just to kind of an update on Vegas itself, as that's one of the cities that we commonly see on the news pictures of, because when has it ever been so empty? So to kind of start off with that, what does it look like around there in Vegas?
It's shocking. It's a ghost town. Like you said, it's never been seen like this. The closest thing that people can compare this to is back on 9/11 attacks, when all the traveling was shut down for a few days.
Yeah.
But we've been going on, I think it's almost the third week. Governor Sisolak ordered a shutdown of non-essential businesses around the middle of March, around the 17th, more or less. And my both competitors shut down their hostels.
Okay.
And so I read what the transcript of the orders of Governor Sisolak, and on his non-essential businesses list, it said that on his essential businesses list, it stated that dormitories are essential.
Oh, okay. So you slid in that way.
I got dormitories. That's all I have in my property. I don't have any private rooms.
Ah.
So it gave me the confidence to keep it open. We have taken a lot of measures since then. Like everybody else, we had a huge amount of cancellations, dealing with refunds, all that stuff. So after that week and a half of dealing with cancellations and cancellations and cancellations, we were keeping the hostel about 30% occupancy.
Good considering.
Up until last week, when we started dropping into 20%. So right now we're keeping around 10 to 15 guests at the hostel.
Okay, so you still have, because you're one of the few options now. Do you think that the hostels in town that are around you, do you think they plan to reopen, or are they? We've had a few shut down for good.
Oh no, I think they'll open back for business. I mean, one of them is owned by a big corporation, so money is not a problem for them. And the other one, I know he says he's shut down, but I know that, the person lives in there, the owner lives there, and we're neighbors, and we know that he's still taking people in, here and there. I think he just feels more confident being under the table right now.
Yeah.
How are what about the casinos? That's such an interesting thing where people love their gambling, but definitely not a safe place to be. Yeah,
it's insane, man. People say it's around 240,000 people that were furloughed, workers on the Strip. At Mandalay Bay, my wife works for the Shark Reef, with the sharks, the shark tanks they have there.
Yeah.
She's one of the very few people that is still going to work.
Yeah.
And her and a team of like 9 people. And she says that the sites are, it's depressive.
Right. What about the actual gambling? Can you actually go play slots or blackjack right now?
Casinos are shut down entirely. Even, where it's very normal here to go to a 7-Eleven or a Walgreens or CVS and seeing slot machines,
right,
supermarket and stuff, they're all shut down.
Wow.
All gambling shut down because people are in contact, touching machines and all that.
Yeah.
Is that in line with the August or through April? Or when is there a schedule to open the casinos back up?
Well, everybody's praying that it'll open back up in May, at the latest half of May. But again, this all depends on what the task force says, and Governor Sisolak is following the orders from above, But I have already gotten emails from Southern Nevada Health District in preparations for going back into business. So they didn't say when, but they're like, hey, in preparations for coming back into business, please take these flyers, print them out, spread them through your property, prevention measures and all that kind of stuff. So I got that yesterday.
Oh, good.
So it feels like maybe in May they open again.
Yeah, that would be good. Of course, the uncertainty is so much of the problem. If it was May and it was Memorial Day, it's almost like, okay, I could structure this to use this time to, work on some projects or get things done. What are you doing at your hostel with your staff right now?
Well, we had to let go 2 of our receptionists. During the off season, we have like a team of 4 or 5 working reception. Me and my manager, we're always working a few days on the desk. We like being there. So after we got rid of them, or we had to let them go, him and I have been working every day, nonstop, doing 12-hour shifts at the hostel. So some of the things that we have had to do to be able to continue operating has been changing the reception hours. So we're only keeping 4 hours, the hostel open, the reception and common areas open from 8 a.m. until noon to give people a chance to have coffee in the morning, make yourself some breakfast. And then we close the reception and the common areas from noon until 3. And at 3, we open again until 8 o'clock at night to give them a second chance to go and prepare meals or whatever. And then we close.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's that way we can cut back on the hours. We still make arrangements when we get a new check-in. If they're arriving after 8, they can check in when we're not here. There's methods to do that. And we have limited the capacity, the amount of people that can be inside a dormitory, because we have 8-bed dorms. So we only allow 4 people inside each dorm. And as you can see behind me, we have taken all the top bunk mattresses, pillows,
Okay.
stuff, so people won't get creative or sneak others in or whatever,
That's smart. And it's also good from the spacing. We've got one location that had some co-lives month to month, and just in having a place that's open, now that you've got so much more space, you can spread people out more.
Yeah.
So they're not on top of each other, because a bunk bed scenario is not social distancing, unfortunately. And if one of the 2 people were sick,
each bunk bed is like spread out, inside the dorm.
Yeah.
And that way they get a few feet between each other of distance. We don't let this happen during normal times, but we have allowed them to put like a flat sheet across the bunk bed, to cover themselves up.
A little curtain. Yeah.
We're working together with the guests and stuff. We have put spray bottles all over the common areas, in the kitchen, inside the bathroom, dormitory bathrooms, and signs all over the place. So we're asking people to sanitize the area before and especially after they sit down on a counter or something, or they prepare a meal. When you're done, wipe it off. I've never had cleaner areas.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to control those high-touch common areas. It's really a good point.
Yeah, is there a certain kind of demographic you're seeing traveling through right now, since the casinos are closed? And
I mean, there's a lot of people, American travelers that were stranded. Some of them don't want to go back to their home states like California, New York, Washington. I just had a lady, I was talking to her yesterday. She's from Seattle, and she was asking me for a 2-week extension. And she was telling me, I just don't want to go back home. I'd rather stay here in Vegas. Vegas has very good numbers compared to most big cities. I know we're not a big city compared to LA and stuff, but people have taken all the warnings very seriously, and it's only reported like 50 deaths in Nevada. Only less than 1,500 people infected, so we're all doing very good over here. Good. And the American travelers feel that it's better to stay here than going back home. We also had German kids, French guests, a girl from Peru, a guy from Turkey. All of these people were stranded in our hostel for like 3 weeks because all of their flights kept getting canceled and canceled and canceled, and they're trying to reach their embassies and stuff. So we gave them enough chance. I lowered the rates like 2 times to help them with the situation. Instead of, we have weekend rates and weekday rates, I just made it all the same rate throughout the week. Because right now in Vegas, there is not a difference. There's no difference between a Friday and a Wednesday. It's the same. So I just made the same rate for every day for the guests.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, and they appreciate it, and they're really cleaning after themselves, being helpful, keeping everything in order inside the dorm. So it's a nice sense of community right now.
Nice. Are you guys doing any kind of special activities or things that are happening, that are obviously peak right now, but are working well?
No, as soon as the order came out from the governor, one of the directives were to stop all social activities and engagements and all this stuff. And we have always had like free pasta nights, barbecues on the weekends. We always do everything free for our guests, and we have to stop it. We also stopped serving breakfast in the morning because we don't want people reaching out to the bread and touching jellies and all that stuff. So during the morning, we are only serving coffee, tea, and orange juice. And yeah, we're taking the social distancing serious as much as we can inside a hostile environment. We have separate, like, our common areas has like countertops and like stools all across the common area. And we have taken most of them out and only left like 6 or 7, and they're like 4 feet apart, 5 feet apart from each other. People are having enough distance between each guest,
Yeah, great to meet
We're also not allowing more than 8 people to be inside the common areas at the same time. So if you're sitting there and somebody needs to cook, we're asking them, hey man, do you mind stepping outside so that this person can come in and, use the kitchen? Because we don't want to be overcrowded inside as well.
Sure.
So they're all smoking a lot.
That's skyrocketing. Make sure they're rolling their individual marijuana cigarettes.
Just smoke it yourself, and that's what they're all doing.
Yeah. But I think it is a difficult thing you bring up there, as far as our operations as hostels are so much revolved around social immersion. The meals, the activities, the getting to know each other, breaking down barriers, and now the instructions are to put up barriers and to keep everyone separate and to keep everyone distant. So,
and it's a weird feeling because at a specific time of the year, with the change of seasons, after being so many years in the hostel, that once the spring vibe starts coming in, you can already feel like, this is when we start getting the European kids and this and that, and like it's not happening, man. So it's rough also because we have always had limits of like 6-night maximum stay at the hostel, and now we're letting people stay 3-4 weeks. So letting them stay longer, some of them have started to acquire, like, I don't know, ownership inside the dorm or inside the hostel in general. And we've had to deal with a few crazy guests, ask them to leave. Hey man, this is not working out. It's better for you to move on. Because they're not respecting the rules that we set. And they have understood and they have left. We had one guest 2 weeks ago, and he was an older gentleman. I was happy to host him. He didn't have anywhere else to go, but after a week of seeing him being in the common areas and always complaining about pains and this and that, and I could hear him coughing all the way in the reception, and he's coughing in the common area, and I'm asking him, hey man, are you covering yourself? Are you cleaning after yourself? Blah, blah, blah. He says, yes. The other guest that was behind him is like, no, it's not, get him. So the other guests are helping us.
Yeah,
Sure.
Self-policing. Yeah. Everyone's looking out. Yeah.
So we had to tell him, hey buddy, no more extensions, And some others in this time of desperation or whatever, I don't know what medications are, but you know, one of them started combining his drinking with his medications and started going crazy at night. And the next day we're like, okay, buddy, you're out. You know, we're not gonna be babysitting here drunks or having alcoholics, you know, so we need you to leave. So there's been a few cases like that, but most of the people here are, like you saying, self-policing, taking care of the place. They know that me and my manager are not here after 8 o'clock at night. And they're keeping an eye on us, you know, on the hostel, as well as the other. We have 2 people that live and work here.
Yeah.
Along with them, everybody's like, you know, keeping an eye on the place.
Yeah, you know, I would definitely say there's an element of teamwork, mostly from the guests and the staff, of trying to get things through together. But it is always a challenge as a hostel owner or manager, because we do attract a certain demographic that is on a budget accommodation, and they're looking to take advantage of the situation as much as possible. But it's our job to protect the herd from that one or two.
Exactly.
Filter that out.
And they all come and you know, they come and they say, hey, Jason, man, thank you so much for what you're doing. We really appreciate that you're staying open. You're giving us a place to stay. We see your efforts. You know, it hasn't been easy for us, but it hasn't especially been easy for you guys who are trying to run a business on a loss, you know, and still giving us a place to stay.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, man, it's been very challenging. And I have never been tested on my patience so much ever in my life.
Yeah.
Seeing the same people every day, you know, doing something stupid here or there. But, you know, you get over these things. They understand when you tell them, and it just keeps working out. One thing that I was wanted to say is that I'm already starting to see reservations for September and October.
Yeah, we still coming through in August as well. So that's been encouraging, to get to that point that people are anxious to get back out there, that younger demographic that we are targeting to mostly. I think that we'll see a surge. So the hostels that are left standing after this and are ready to hit the ground running will be a great advantage.
You got to imagine all these people at home, being home all day with internet, you know, bored. And they're like, oh, well, let me see what I can find. What good deals must be out there? And, you know, we don't have our high rates for that time of the year yet, because we don't know what's going on. So some people are already starting to book for late summer. And, you know, we're happy to see that. So
that's great.
We don't get another apocalypse of cancellations in September.
Yeah, well, hopefully this is a once in a lifetime thing. I feel like it's
we're not charging deposits or anything yet. We're just deciding to wait to see what happens. And,
yeah, I think that's the best that anyone can do, is a bit of a holding pattern, but staying, you know, busy, staying productive, and staying creative with the marketing and whatnot. You know, there's opportunities out there to be had if you can take the time to do it.
Advantage of this, and also migrate to a new system. And after all the cancellations we dealt, I mean, we went from having the next 2 weeks more than 60% booked to like having 5 reservations. So when we migrated systems, moving the reservations over was just like, oh, we just have to move 5 people. You know, it was so easy to transition.
Now, before we let you go, I'm curious, what system did you migrate to? Now, were you on cloud beds, right?
Yeah, I've been on cloud beds for, I would say 5, almost 6 years. I was one of the first people in the U.S.
Yeah.
To be with them. And I migrated over to Muse systems and SideMinder for channel management.
Oh, so tell us a bit about that. I haven't heard anyone that's ever made the jump from cloud beds to Muse.
Yeah, well, I first heard about Muse in Amsterdam like 2 years ago, and one of the representatives that was a Staywise was a lady that used to be an account manager for Hostel World. So I knew her since like 2014.
Oh.
When I saw her there, she introduced me to the system and started showing me all these features that they had, and it really caught my attention. And you know, both of them are very good systems, but I feel like Muse is more advanced in the accounting, in the reporting, the integrations that they have, and they also have their own merchant account with very low transaction swiping fees, and they handle chargebacks for us. So that's something I won't have to be dealing with anymore. And it's an e-commerce platform, so the moment we charge a card, automatically sends out a receipt to the email of the guest. We're really liking it. It has more features than what we were used to with the previous system.
All
So
right.
mapping the rates and all that stuff works very good with SiteMinder and the OTAs as well. So the system recognizes the rate plan and charges accordingly to the rate plan automatically. So it's very exciting to have a new system, man. Integrations with Microsoft Power BI. So.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I would think, maybe we could get to another episode together where we have you and Byron Bunda go head to head and talking about the different softwares. That could be
fun, but I'm not a representative of Muse. I'm just a customer.
Oh yeah, I know, but you know it well, and I'd love to see the banter between you two.
Yeah, there's still a lot of learning to do, but so far I'm really liking it, and being slow right now is giving us a chance to trial and error.
That's a good point. No, you made a good point. If you were switching, what a great time. Very few reservations and a lot of time to ease yourself into it.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, thank you so much, Jason. Do you have anything in closing to share with the listeners of support or inspiration?
Well, I'm hoping that I feel very sad for the people who had to shut down. I'm telling those who can still keep their hostel open to just keep working. Eventually this thing will go through, and just keep the hostel clean, keep it safe. If you have to be there as an owner and work there, if you love what you do, you're gonna be there in the battlefield. And that's how Ivan and I feel right now. So we're taking the sacrifice in order to provide a place for people to stay. And, it'll come to time where it's partying, where it's barbecues, where it's drinking, beer pong, all that stuff. And until then, I just hope that everybody keeps safe. So.
Rock on. All right. Well,
Jason, it's all over. I hope that, come to Vegas, baby.
That's right. Jason, Sin City Hostel, Bob Dyer, iTunes. And Jimmy Platt from the House Road Trip Podcast. Thank you for tuning in again with the Pandemic mini-series.